Hey humans, what goes on? It's Jay with IRN, and today I am finally making Mike from Stranger Things. I'm doing a lot of body modifications. I'm using this skinny, I think it's skinny Ken doll, and this random Monster High doll head I had. I had already been modifying that head for something else and it didn't work out, so I don't know what it was originally. I'm taking a Dremel and dremeling down the Ken doll's neck whole head, neck. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm trying to get as skinny as possible to give it that Monster High kind of aesthetic look type thing. I'm just pretty much polishing it down at this point. I then also made the hole in the neck a little bigger. So you can see right here, there's some little gaps, but I'm going to fill that with some epoxy sculpt. And then like the hole's a little bit bigger on the inside, just enough so it'll fit and make sense. I swear it makes sense when I finish. It does. It really does. I got my 2-part epoxy sculpt, which I'm obsessed with. So first I just pop on the Monster High doll's head to the Ken doll. It's kind of loose at first just because it's really not supposed to be doing like this. But once I kind of finagle it, it works. Once the epoxy's on, it's on there. So I then take part A and part B of the epoxy and I mix that together. Always wearing gloves because it's dangerous otherwise. Once I have that all mixed evenly, I start going around the neck with it, and then I took a little water on my fingertips to smooth it out to make it blend a little nicer with the plastic. This is really important, otherwise it might look a little bit like, it looks more sculpted than I like. I want it to look nice and smooth. So I try to go over it and get the edges nice. Okay, so then I take some watered down tan peach color, and I go over the parts that will be seen on the doll. I don't paint the whole thing because I just don't want to waste paint, but you can if you want to. I just do I think 3 layers of the watered down paint so it's nice and smooth and looks as close to factory paint as I can get it. I also then go over with some water and just start dropping it on there, making sure it runs, making it nice and smooth looking. Once that's done, I then take my e.l.f. palette and my makeup brushes. Don't do this at home, kids. And I start contouring it with my contour kit. Just browns hitting the edges, making sure his jawline is sharp. I don't know what I'm talking about. I also do the hairline, just trying to make it look a little more alive, more real, and less like paint. You could use pastels, but I can't find any for that match. I then take a light brown and take my, I think, 0 brush or 0.0 or 0.5, and I go around outlining the eyes, and I give him a crease in his eyes because I want to make him look a little more like Finn. This is just kind of a back and forth between the brown and the tan. I then go through and I do the browns of his eyes. And I fill in the whites around it. Pretty standard stuff. I then add some eyebrows, trying to keep up with where his eyebrows naturally arch. Well, the doll's eyebrows do. I then go through with some black and give him some fake black eyelashes because I noticed Finn has thicker, darker eyelashes than some of the other dolls have had. So, and then I go through and I add the whites of the eyes, which is the best part. We all know it. I then take a little bit of a watered down watercolor pencil, and I go through and I outline the lips, and I'm trying to get more into watercolor pencil. It's still not my favorite. I then take a little acrylic paint, mix it with some tan and red, and I add a flesh colored lip color around it, so it kind of mixes in with the watercolor pencil. It's a weird technique, but I'm liking it for the lips. It gives me a little more control. I'd be very tidy about it though, because gotta keep those lips looking clean. I then take some of my matte varnish by Testor and spray it. I took some hair wefts. I have plenty of videos about how to make hair wefts before, so if you want to see how to do that, that's on the channel. I just took some brown hair wefts. Half of them were straightened, half of them were curly, because I want to give him that wavy look that he has, which I can't figure out how to do, so I kind of just mixed curly and wavy. Curly and straight, sorry guys. I then hot glue the hair onto his head. When it's finished, he looks like a hippie. Which is kind of my least favorite part of this. I hate styling doll hair. Is done. It is time for take some hair scissors, and we got to trim up his bangs. I do have a photo of Finn next to me normally. Of course, it wasn't coming up, so I had to kind of do it by memory. Luckily, I have some friends who are obsessed with him, so they bring him up a lot, so I can just do it from memory. These are friends that are his age. It's not creepy, like my younger family members or whatever. Anyway. I'm explaining too much again. I'm exhausted. I'm sorry, guys. So I'm just I pulled his bangs out of the way first, just because I want to save those for last, so I can kind of do that 80s look. The rest I'm just trimming it as short as possible, gluing it down when I need to. I'm trying to make his bangs look different than the Will doll. I was worried that they were going to look too similar. By the end of it, they didn't, so I'm happy with that. But this just took me forever to get his hair to go right. I hate doing doll hair. It just drives me insane. um, but after a really way too long of styling process, I do get there. It's just all about little bits here and there. Also, it doesn't help my hair scissors have gone dull, so I have to use my big scissors. So that's not handy at all, to be honest. Anyway, so this is the finished product, what he looks like with the everything done. I did not make any clothes for him. I have clothes already prepared. I just have a bunch of weird 80s doll clothes that worked for him. Anyway, so here we go. This is my Mike doll. I hope you guys like him. I'm coming along with this set pretty well. I'm quite proud of them. Hopefully I'll have the whole series done before the new season comes out, because that would be lame if I didn't. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching as always. I hope you enjoy this. Let me know who you want to see me make next. I probably won't listen. I'm just going to do whatever I want, but it's still nice to know what you guys are thinking, especially if we're all on the same page. I'm considering maybe Dustin next. I don't know. I really don't want to make Nancy, so I'm going to save her probably for last. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Remember, today is not like yesterday. Bye! Awkward silence. Hey humans, what goes on? So today I'm making a Joyce Byers doll from Stranger Things. I'm using a Raven, whatever her last name is, from Ever After High. Sorry, I lost a little bit of footage. I would normally have a better shot of her, but it's just one of the basic ones. I first cut off all of her hair, then I pop her head off and use some needle nose tweezers to pull the plugs out from the inside. Lots of glue everywhere. Very gross. Then I took some 100% acetone and took a tissue and wiped off her face. I left the paint on the head because it's the same color as the hair I'm going to be giving her, so why not save some paint? I then took some matte spray. It's not Mr. Super Clear, but it's kind of like a alternative. I sprayed her down, and then I blushed her face, but I lost that footage accidentally. I don't know where it went. I took some watercolored watercolored pencils and tried to draw in her eyes, but it didn't seem to work. I did try to use their water, the part of them that, is activated by water. I still didn't like it. I'm still trying to learn watercolored pencils, so please bear with me. Needless to say, I don't actually end up using the watercolored pencils for this. I just went back to my default acrylic paint. I used my zero brush, and I just went in and first started off with some brown around the eyes for her, lines, and then I also gave her some fold in her eyes to kind of give her a little more of a haggard mom who's worried look. No offense to Winona Ryder, because she's a gorgeous woman. I just noticed Joyce has those. I also did her eyebrows, and I went through and I just started highlighting them, and then I did the browns of her eyes, trying to map out the circular area, I guess. I then went through with some more brown acrylic paint, and then I lightly painted on a few more age lines. I then took some white acrylic paint, went around the eyes for the whites of the eyes. Sorry, this video seems very fast for some reason. I didn't realize I was filming it so fast. Then I went in with some black, and I did the blacks of her eyes. Then I added some little white for the shine, and then I took a little bit of tan acrylic paint and went through and highlighted her outer eyes a little bit. I then took some black acrylic paint and added some paint on eyelashes to make her look a little more mature compared to the rest of the dolls, because she's the oldest person I've made so far in this series. I did get the watercolored pencils to work for the lips, though. I used a kind of like a pale peachish pink color, and it worked really well. I used a little bit of acrylic paint to touch it up, though, but just to make them pop, but it worked pretty well. So then I went through and I took a little gray and went into the eyes and just tried to make them look more 3D, and just touched up here and there, just to kind of make it look better. I then took some clear nail polish and went over the eyes. I know there's better ways, but I'm cheap and this is what I do. I then made some wefts out of some what's it called, acrylic yarn. Did some really loose stuff so I can just pull it apart myself. I got this nice poof of hair. I didn't straighten it because I wanted to keep it kind of curly and messy. I then took some Mod Podge on a piece of plastic, and I glued it down, the hair down to it, so we can create a weft. I do have videos about how to do this more in detail, but here's just a general idea. I just paint a line across and just glue the hair on it, and then just stick it down. This is one of the messiest parts, and I hate it. But then you take another piece and you put another line of glue over it. Do not use brushes you care about, because this will ruin your brushes. So I just went over. That way, when it dries, it creates a really nice line that we can cut along that we can glue to the the head. So it took about 24 hours to dry. I popped it off, cut them down, created some nice little wefts. I did different sizes so I would have could fill in the gaps and fill in the holes, so it would look a little more natural and not so bulky. Oops, sorry, my phone went off. So that's just what I'm doing here. It's a tedious process, but it's very important. It's a lot easier than gluing the hair directly to the head, I've found. I don't know, I have a bunch of wefts here. I did not count, just like a bunch. I didn't use them all either. So then I took a hot glue gun. You can use Mod Podge if you want. I was impatient. So I started gluing the hair around the outer rims, and then I did her bangs and just started gluing the hair all over the head. um, until she ends up looking like Cousin It. I'm sorry. This was filmed very fast. I did not realize how fast this was. Was going through. Sorry, guys. But it's the same as all my other hair tutorials, so don't worry about it too much. And so yeah, this one I did have a little trouble, but I got the bangs to sit right finally. I then started parting it off and start trimming it with some of my scissors that are not made for hair. I really need to buy some new ones. I apologize. I'm not that great at styling doll hair. I'm still learning. I'm still trying. But I wanted to give her kind of some messy bangs because I noticed in the first season her hair was always a mess because she was so distraught because she wanted her boy back. She wants her boy back. I love this show. I love Winona Ryder. She's amazing. Anyway, so it took me a while to style her hair. I didn't use any product either, just because I was trying to keep it kind of loose and free, because I don't feel like Joyce would style her hair. Anyway, so this is the finished product, what she looked like. I did get a bunch of clothes that I already had for the doll, and I added some little fairy, I think they're called, I don't know, like little fairy lights, like the ones you have for like little small lights. So she had a little ball of lights to hold, it just kind of iconically holds lights. Anyway, so here she is. Hope you guys like her. She was a lot of fun to make. I do hope to start making some more of the main cast soon. I just really wanted to make a Winona Ryder doll because I love her, and I'm tired of making young children. I want to make an adult. That sounded creepy. Never mind. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Please remember, today is not like yesterday, and it's been a pleasure making these dolls. Okay, have a great day, guys. Now here's some awkward silence. Okay, bye! Hey Nation, what goes on? It's Jay with IRN. So today I am finally making some more Stranger Things dolls, and today I'm making Nancy. I'm not gonna lie, Nancy's not my favorite character, but I wanted to make her because I had the stuff for it. Okay, so I took a Draculaura doll and I cut off all her hair, obviously saving some because it's good quality hair and I don't want to just throw it away. I got as close to the head as I could with my scissors until she was close to being bald. Then I popped her head off gently, and I used a flathead screwdriver to get the plugs out from the inside. I used to use tweezers, but it hurt my handle way too much, and it was just easier to grip on with the flathead, and it was faster, because this is one of the most tedious parts, and like I had to find a faster way. But yeah, with that being said, it works pretty well. It's a pretty good method. I used the tweezers to clean out the hair on the inside, obviously though. Then I took 100% acetone and started cleaning off her face. This one's, I'm kind of being, like, I'm calling this like my lazy custom because I'm not like going too crazy. I'm not like cleaning the head off because I'm going to glue hair over it. So what I did with this one, I didn't really want to do pastel, so I watered down some acrylic. The reason I did this, I really didn't want it to look too much like my 11 doll because it's the same face sculpt, so I wanted to change it up a bit. So I watered down my acrylic paint with a little bit of water. Every time I dunked the brush into the paint, I dunked it into the water, and it makes it this very smooth finish for skin. I used a peach, I think the term, like, it's a peach paint is what the proper name for it is. Then I went through with a light, I think it was light brown, maybe it was medium brown, and I started painting out the eyes. I like to use browns when I first start off just because it looks a little more natural, because stark black doesn't always appear, at first. So I also had a photo of her next to me as I was painting, and I started doing the eyebrows accordingly. I tried to start off on the arch first because it's easier to start at the arch and then finish it. I then go back in with some black and I add the eyelashes and the I don't know the term, the black part around the eye. I should probably learn some anatomy. And so, just kind of fill in and make it look right. I believe she has dark blue eyes, so I went in with some dark blue, and I painted the color of the eye. Um, so so it was nice and opaque. Uh, then I took a little bit of red and white, mixed and a little of the peach, and mixed it in to make a lip color, kind of a light pinkish lip color. um, then I went through and I touched up a few colors, just trying to make everything look better. Added the blacks on the inside of the eyes. Then I went through and I added the whites around the eyes, and of course we had to do the eye shines because that's the best part. Everyone knows that. You're just touching it up along the way. I then did go in with some pastels, and I added a little bit of blush on her cheeks, making her look a little more alive, a little more grown up compared to the younger dolls. I then took some brown and I I can't speak today. I blushed the body a little bit just to make it look a little different. Like I said, I'm trying to make it look different than the 11 doll. So this is this is the finished paint job. I was quite proud of this. I really like how it turned out. I took some brown, really loose thread. It was easy enough to pull apart because I cannot get the cat brush thing to work. I try and I can't. So I just peel it apart by hand. And I have a bunch of hair. So then what I do is I put some hot glue on the head and I put the hair right in the middle and I glue it gently. The hot glue is not too hot. It's like one of those low temperature ones. So I don't suggest doing this yourself, but you can. That's what I do. And then you fold the hair over so it has a nice. You don't really see where it's glued. You just see hair being folded over. This is what I normally do anyway. I mean, you guys, if you watch my videos, you've seen me do this before. And if not, check out my other Stranger Things dolls. Right now she looks like Riff Raff from Rocky Horror. But this one I didn't have to straighten it because I felt like it had the right texture for her hair. For the part, I put a lot of extra hair and just did the same thing, folding in opposite directions, making sure to not have any gaps showing. So then I styled it. I pulled out little parts because I wanted to pull her hair back a bit, and then I used some small clear rubber bands and tied her hair as tight as I could, which is very difficult, come to find out. Like it kept slipping. I was so close to just tying the hair together, but that didn't look right. So after like 20 minutes of struggling, I did it, and then I trimmed the hair so it's the right length and looks a little more like Nancy. Anyway, this is the finished doll itself. I had some clothes that were already good because I don't really sew right now. I don't know why. But anyway, I had this cute little striped top and some jeans that just felt like Nancy, and just some little boots or whatever. Anyway, so here's the finished product. I hope you like my Nancy doll. She was a quick doll and a fun doll and a lazy doll. I hope to make some more of the boys soon. It's just been it's been crazy lately. So anyway, hope you guys like her. Thanks for watching. Please remember today is not like yesterday. And thank you for watching. Leave a comment down below what you'd like to see next. I'll try to get to it, or we'll see what happens. All right, guys, have a great day. Thank you. Now time for some awkward silence. Bye.
Hey humans, what goes on? It's Jay with IRN. So today I am finally making a Steve from Stranger Things doll. I've wanted to do this since I made my 11, but I had so much trouble finding a doll for it. I really wanted to use a Monster High doll, but it has become impossible for me personally to find a Monster High male doll. So I'm using a Carlos from the Descendants, from Disney's Descendants. I got him on sale, and that's the only reason I can make this doll. So right now I'm going to start off by cutting off his white hair. I use some big scissors for this. I would suggest getting some actual hair cutting scissors for this one, but that's what I had nearby. It was weird because I love the style on this doll, but I wanted to make Steve more. So it's cool because they actually painted his roots on his head, so he has like dark roots, but the hair itself is white. I took some warm water and put the doll's head in. I'm trying to be a little more legit this time around because normally I just rip the head off, but I don't want to break this one because it was so hard to find. So once it's nice, the plastic's nice and soft, I took a paper towel and gently tugged the head off. These ones are set up a little different than I'm used to, but sooner or later I got it off. Yeah, there we go. Nice attack, nobody got hurt, everybody's fine. So anyway, then I took some needle nose pliers and started pulling out the plugs from the inside. I used the back because it was actually easier to scrape them off that way. Just because it was just an easier motion for me, even though my hand still hurt by the end of it. So then after he's nice and ready to go, he's sitting there looking all, ready to have his face ripped off. The life of making dolls. I'm taking, I think it's 100% acetone nail polish remover, and I'm just using some tissues, and I'm just going to wipe off his eyeball. Like, boom. And that's it. There's his face is coming off. Anyway, so that's his face, without a face on it. I left the brown paint on the head just because I'm keeping his hair brown, so why not? I'm using I think it's a zero brush to paint on his eye. I'm using a brown color instead of black because I felt like I was trying to go for more of a natural, tone because he's obviously not wearing like eyeliner. So I used just a brown, trying to keep it a little more like natural. This one, I have a reference photo of Joe Curie, I think that's how you pronounce his name, right next to me. I want to make sure I get the shape right because it's obviously different than the doll's face mold. Now I'm taking a off-white and painting the whites of his eyes. I wanted to make it look a little more realistic because, nothing's like exact color. So at first I liked it, but then towards the end I fix it later because right now it looks a little too yellowy. He looks like he's sick. But yeah, I'm painting the outskirts of the eyes white. I paint mine backwards for some reason. I paint the whites first, then the eye color. So now I'm taking, I think it's a smaller brush. I cannot remember at this point. And painting the browns of his eyes. I have the worst time keeping circular. I'd always end up looking like a snake at first. But I get there sooner or later. Just, it's a slow process of making sure to keep it round and even. Because, you don't want one eye looking different than the other. So, anyway. That's how I do the eye part for that. I'm trying to take a little slower and actually show detail in this one. Now I'm taking black and putting, a little pupil in there. Give him, we all have blacks in our eyes. And there's his little pupil. He's coming together, finally. But like I said, I'm trying to take this a little slower so people can see the detail. I'm using an actual white now to kind of highlight the eye just a little bit. It's still, the cream color's in there, but the white makes it pop. And now the best part, putting the eye shine in, just a little dot of white right there. Boom! And now he appears like he has eyes. I did not film the eyebrow painting, sadly, but I did paint it. His eyebrows are different. They don't really arch. So, anyway, there you go. Then next, I painted the teeth in because the doll itself was smiling. Then I went over it with a pinkish color I made myself. I mixed a bunch of colors to give him some lips because, you need lips. I always have the worst time painting teeth and lips together. I always feel like they look too teethy or they look too lippy. This one I'm okay with. It took me a little time here, but I kept going back through and detailing and, scraping off paint with my nail. Then after that, I took some yarn. I put the doll aside. I took some yarn. It's acrylic brown yarn. And I wrapped it around my hand a few times, and then I cut it carefully. Don't do this at home. It's dangerous. Well, not dangerous, but it's dangerous. Don't do it. That's long enough for me. Most people have cat brushes. I have a cat brush, but it always wastes so much yarn for me. So, like I said, this is my Steve doll, and I'm taking my time with it. So I used my needles, pliers, and started pulling the thread that was holding it all together apart. Down the road, I ended up realizing it wasn't really important to do that. I could just rip it apart by hand. But I'm just pulling this acrylic yarn apart. It's also pretty thick, so it was easy enough to do. I just put on some TV I like and, go for it. I find it soothing. So that's the bunch of hair I made by hand. Yay. Then I took my mini hair straightener. Be careful if you're straightening hair. You could burn yourself. I straightened it because, she's got that straight wavy... Well, he has wavy hair in real life, but I think it's straightened on the show. I don't know. I'm not his hairstylist. How would I know? Anyway, so then I put down some plastic wrap on my desk, and I'm making wefts. This is the first time I've ever made wefts. I've never done that before in my life. So I painted down on the plastic wrap some, I think it was tacky glue, or was it Mod Podge? I put Mod Podge down. And then I took this hair strands I made, I placed it right in the middle, because I was going to make them shorter, shorter wefts than what they already were. I really tried to get it on the glue, like by pushing in. Very sticky, very gross. Use a brush you don't care about, one that you can just throw away. I mean, it washes out, but just to be safe. So once that's all ready, I take some more of the glue and I go over the same spot, kind of making a little white stripe down the middle. That way, when it's hard, we know where the glue is. This was actually a lot of fun. I've never done wefts before, and I totally stole this idea. I think it's from another doll person on YouTube. I think I stole it from Hexian, if that's how you pronounce his name. I don't know. I'm probably saying it wrong. Anyway, so now here's me making a bunch of doll lefts. I just time lapsed it because ain't nobody got time to watch all that. It's way too long in general. This was a lot of fun. Anyway, so once it's all done, you can pull it off the paper off the plastic wrap, and then I just trim it right down the middle, and then I have double the wefts, double the fun. Now I have this nice little spot to glue right onto them. I was gonna glue it by hand, but I don't trust my glue, so I measured it out, and then I use real glue, guys. But I use hot glue because I don't know, I feel safer with it for some reason. I'm so used to it at this point. But I'd say just use regular glue. It might take longer, but the hot glue works for me. So if you're going to do it, be careful. Don't burn yourself. I don't suggest doing it this way because it's technically not the right way to do it. Anyway, so I just kept hot gluing and going around the head. There are already lines on the head, which was kind of exciting for once. I just followed those and started, gluing the hair down. This weft version of the hairstyling was a lot nicer because everything was very clean and precise. I glued some hair in the opposite direction for like where his hair was going to come up because he's got that hair. That's his style. And then once it was dry, I trimmed a little, obviously, but you can flip it over, and that way it has more of a natural part, if that's the proper word. But you can't see where the glue is. Anyway, I then took a comb and started combing out any extra glue you could see, just finding holes and just combed it out a bit. Now he's got this beautiful Jesus hair. I took my actual hair scissors, which I found finally, and started trimming the back so it was, the proper length of his hair. And then I got my real hair products out because my got to be hair clay or hair putty, and my hairspray actually worked on this yarn. So that was exciting. So it stayed really nicely. It let me do his style, which I felt excited about because Steve's known for his styled hair. I mean, like, that's kind of a huge, they literally talk about it in season 2. Like, he explains how he does it. So, I just slowly started doing that. I left the top part really long so I could style it accordingly to, the way he does it. But once it was all set and finished, I trimmed it nicely so it was the same length. But he still had that volume that he deserved. I set him up here so he wouldn't hit. Oh, the doll came with these naturally, they already had gloves on it. So this is kind of like an artistic choice because I don't know how to fix that, to be honest. I could have carved it, but I could have also messed it up. So I just gave him some fingerless gloves. I mean, it was the 80s. They were, people wore fingerless gloves, right? Madonna. I don't know. I liked the way it looked either way, and I just didn't really have any other options, but it worked. So artistic licensing, yay. Anyway, here's the doll. I hope you like Steve. I made him its little outfit, and I made him a bat. I would have filmed that, but that would have been a whole other 10 minutes. So he's got a little bat with his nails in it. Real nails, so kind of dangerous. And yeah, he's got his jeans, everything. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. And please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. And remember, today is not like yesterday. Woo! Awkward silence.